Oh my goodness. Good morning. Good morning. My internet just came back. It went out at 6:22 and I was just getting ready to change my time and then it pops in. Good morning, Snuggle Bunny. Good morning, Wisco Gal. It just popped in. Oh, goodness. So, good morning, good morning, good morning. And I'm playing catch up. So, I'm trying to make sure all my tabs are back because I was on my phone getting ready to reschedule. They had some issues, I guess, when I called Infinity, Xfinity. I say Infinity. Xfinity. Hi, Just Beetle. So, I just want to let you guys know my baby's surgery went well. Okay. It went well. I picked her up yesterday. I took her for a little drive. There was no whining, no nothing. And she was happy. She was happy. She was good. So we're back on. Well, of course, we were always on the road, but now there's no noise. So I had to take care of my baby. Hi, Sassy Susie. Hi, Colonels of Shade. Good morning. um, oh my God. So anyway, I thought we would do something a little different this morning, and we are going to do it. Remember, I was showing you the human trafficking um, training. Hi, Aries. Happy day. Happy Tuesday. Well, we do have a story of human trafficking, and we have breaking news. Breaking news. We have breaking news, guys. Okay. Lita is set to go to trial on May 20th. Lita, Ayoko, whatever, Cohenstein, whatever her name is, from 90 Day Fiance, she goes to trial on May 20th. So, that's going to be interesting. Hi, Chantel. Last night we were on the TikTok last night. I said one word, which is not even a bad word. The word was sweet. And they kicked me out the box. They kicked me. So I cannot go live on TikTok or get in the box until the 21st of April. Then Drea said crackhead. And they kicked Drea. So I got a message this morning from somebody saying, so you can be a crackhead begging on TikTok, but you can't say the word crackhead. No, you can't. You can't say YouTube. You have to say YT. You have to say rackhead. You can't say drugs. Hi, Bella Marie. Uh, it's okay. You can't say drugs. You have to say rugs. Okay. But you can go listen on TikTok. They're calling each other CUNTs. They're saying the N word. You have people driving doing videos. My sister did a video while she was driving, but 3 weeks back, and they booted her and they gave her a violation. But we have WTF that's driving. We have KB here every morning driving or riding in a car. There's motion. She's still going along with her lies. And I just don't get it. I think, you know what? TikTok is owned by the Chinese. I'm beginning to think they prejudice. I'm just joking. But it's crazy. I said crackhead, then switched to hood rat. Yes, you did, Chantel. You can be a crackhead on the TikToks, extorting people, putting up their information, threatening them and their family, begging for money. But you can't say the word crackhead. You can be a registered sex offender on the TikToks. You don't get hit. You can have a minor modding your chat and you don't get hit. But don't say the word crackhead and don't say the word sweets because you will get hit. I was like, are you kidding me? Then I got the notification. Can't go live until the 21st. I said, are you fucking kidding me? But I don't think that's the word I said because I went into Lisa's chat earlier and I was telling her that it said hate speech. Speech is not a hate speech. I told her she was a crackhead, lying whore, and she needs to starve instead of begging people for money and extorting. Yes, I said that. I told her that you don't deserve anything after killing off your father 4 times, giving your son cancer, killing your imaginary daughter. And she was blaming people on TikTok for losing her apartment. And I said, no, bitch, you didn't pay rent for 2 years. I said, so was it TikTok's fault that your lights went out too? And that's when she blocked me. Yes, I got tired of her lies. I'm sorry, I got tired of her lies. It's the people on TikTok's fault that I lost my apartment. It's the people on TikTok's fault I lost Jace. No, bitch, you lost Jace because you're an addict. You're an addict. Then I hear, Chantel, what is this I hear about KB acting like she had a fake animal farm and putting it up and somebody did a Google research? Nope. Well, you know what? I think you can say hooker or lady of the evening. But trafficker, bottom bitch, yeah, I think you can say bottom bitch because I've said that before and I never got hit. I never got hit. So, did I say trafficker? Well, they got news stories on TikTok about traffickers. So I guess you can say it. But then again, I don't know if they're hit or not. So I am just, oh God. I was just like, what the hell? But that's okay. Then I was gonna do so we were gonna come to YouTube. And then I thought about it. So I think we will. I think I'm going to do a private one and I'll send out the links to our favorite people on TikTok and we'll just do a private one and we can all be backstage. So we're going to hook up my sister's channel and my channel. Oh, shit. No, I didn't. So we're going to hook up my sister's channel and my channel. And that way we can get 20 people in the boxes so we can have fun. Hold on, guys. All right. Okay. It's not going to be a members only. It's going to be a private. And that way we can hook up both channels and we can have, hi, Mr. Jimenez. I can do 10 and she can do 10. And then Chantel has a channel too. So, but yeah, because we have fun on the TikToks. We just be laughing. They got to meet my niece last night. Hi, Coochie. They got to meet my other niece last night. She came up and she's a surgical tech. Well, of course, they know my cousins, my cousin Wayne by now. He's crazy. He comes up. But they got to meet one of my nieces last night. They met one of my other nieces last week. So, yeah, I think we're going to do that. We do. We have fun. Michelle, you know we have fun. So that's what we're going to do. But anyway, let's get on to, but KB. KB. It's all over the TikTok streets that KB put up a fake animal farm. Hi, Savage. Are you going to go live tonight? She put up a fake animal farm and she's been called out for it. You guys don't know who KB is. KB here. KB ran scams on YouTube when she acted like her house was broken in for Christmas and all of her toys, all of the kids' stuff was taken. and people were raising money for her. She was in this crafting community. And one lady got suspicious. She called the police to find out our road trip to Boston with my crazy. Oh, damn. Okay, girl. So she called the police to find out if there was any reports of this. Um, Matter of fact, I put it up on my YouTube about a couple of months ago. Um, Police went and they said they had no reports. So they went to the home and no reports. No one ever broke into her house. Good morning, Bree. No one ever broke into her house. And all this money that these people, well, I don't know how much money, they said people raised money to give her to replace all of the stuff that she said was stolen. My neighbors here in UK flying to Boston tomorrow for a marathon. It's the Boston Marathon tomorrow? I mean, it's the Boston Marathon this weekend. So she was caught in her scams. Then again, we have Frauditor, and the name Frauditor, Reaper, who's putting out misinformation. And I don't like that at all. I told you guys she put a whole ass another drug on Lisa, which is Flocka. She says that she knows she's doing Flocka because I showed you guys her knees or her legs when I was live. And Flocka is a disease that eats your skin from no, yeah, that's the one. And then people go crazy and they start eating people. She said the reason she came to that conclusion, well, she didn't say, Janelle did, is because of the Cash App that had the name Bliss as Fuck. It was BLI, three S's AF. Everybody knows, well, it's alleged, that Lisa is Social Security banned from Cash App. She can't get a Cash App in her name. We know she was using her DD's Cash App because one name was Diesel, the other one, I forgot the other names. But now she's saying the information about Kim or Scam Slam corrected her. Yeah, it's a whole ass mess. So you're being irresponsible by putting all this information out there. And Bliss is, they said, when they say Bliss on the streets, it's Flocka. You're putting a whole nother addiction on a person that you don't know about. We know she takes benzos. She said it. We know she does crack, even though she keeps saying she's 6 months clean, but then she slipped up yesterday, and we know she hasn't been clean. But you're putting a whole ass addiction on someone, which I do not agree with. So Lisa was going around all weekend talking to the imaginary constable that she was being evicted. And, she was talking to him. Hey, officer, constable, sir. Hi, Texas girl. Hi, Snuggle Bunny. Sir, they're saying I have until the 22nd. So could you please stop changing that lock? Again, we knew she was lying. Nicole goes live. Nicole is sitting in her yard and she sees Lisa entering a home. We know Lisa wasn't being evicted because anytime a sheriff comes to your house, I watch Aunt Nell Penn on YouTube when he does his evictions, and there's a few other people. When the sheriff shows up, you no longer reside at that property. The judge has signed an order. That means your ass is gone. Okay? Same thing when CPS shows up at your house and there is a sheriff or a police officer with them. The judge has signed an order to remove that kid or those kids. There is no talking them out of it. None. So she was saying that the sheriff gave her the 5 o'clock. Then she says that she was at her friend's house, but her dad had just came out the hospital and they came over for a visit, just went to her friend's house. Now she's live yesterday. You can hear RJ playing his games in the same place he was playing them before. Hi, Chris Trot. I don't understand. why these people don't believe. Well, my understanding is she hasn't gotten any money. At least that's what they're saying. I don't know. I don't look at I can't see what's going into her PayPal. I can't see what's going into her Chime. I don't know. But she was on yesterday at least 7 times. Then here's how she tripped herself up. When they said that Nicole said that she was going into the house, she says, I wasn't even home yesterday. I was on the east side. I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Do you hear? You just contradicted the lies that you have been saying. Wait a minute. Savage, is your mom driving? Okay, so you have it. Where is it? Hi, Amber. If you drop the link and tell me how long it is, I'll play it. But this shit is crazy. And then she goes up there, and here's the manipulation. Here's what she tells people. You people are grown ass fucking adults. I wouldn't let idiots on the internet that I don't know scare you or stop you from helping me. If I was you, I would send me money anyway just to shut them up. I was like, girl, are we serious? That sounds like somebody else I know. Are we serious? You're going to tell people to send you money just to piss off other people. You're trying to manipulate these people who see you post other people's information because they have caught on to your games and they won't send you any more money. She's a whole, and then she comes live and she's singing, I'm a hustler, baby. That's the song she was singing. We know she was high. She can barely keep her fucking eyes open yesterday. But she's singing, I'm a hustler, baby. Bitch, I told her, well, before she blocked me, I said J-O-B. I did. I think in all caps. J-O-B. Okay, at the 19-minute mark. Okay, and then we're going to get on. Hold on. God damn. Hold on. 19-minute mark. Okay, so hold on a second. This is scams. I don't like her either. Scam slam. Um, I don't like her either. I think all of these awareness pages are they're nothing but bullshit. They send traffic to Lisa's page, and even though they've been warned, she sits there and she does this little crying. So scam slam. Okay, here we go.
In between other things. And at first, we weren't looking into it really hard, but we started looking into it really hard, a couple of days ago when I first gave you some of those little clues and hints as to who it might be. So we do have some information because at this point, as I said, I tried to reach out to this creator. I've sent a
Oh, this is
message and I
from
did try to
2024.
call them. Thank you. And they did not respond. So I gave them time to respond so they could possibly cooperate or explain what's happening and why they're assisting Lisa. Try to get some insight at least as to what is going on here. And since she did not reply, I checked into this person myself to find out a little of what I believe is going on here.
Okay, she's talking about Kim Rhea helping Lisa with her scams. Okay, let me drop this link for you guys in the chat. I thought it was something recent. Scam Slam, I'm not impressed by her either. I'm not impressed by a lot of people. I'm not impressed by Villain, Frauditor, none of them. I don't believe you should be digging into someone's background unless, unless you're investigating them for a crime. Good morning, Sarah Mofozi. I just don't like that. Um, just because someone said something online, but you want to correct the lies. I like, even though I don't care for Victoria, no secret, what she did to those kids were horrendous. What she did to her daughter, uh, trying to have her son said that her daughter had molested him, was disgusting. To keep her from going to prison, I mean, to keep her from being arrested, I think it's disgusting. It really is. But digging into people's stuff, um, no, I really don't like that too much and never have. So TikTok is a whole nother animal. But anyway, let's get on to what I want to talk to you about. And then we're going to do the human trafficking awareness. We have a case right now where 3 men were charged in trafficking a 13-year-old girl in Bucks County. I know I brought this up once, but I think I just read the article, but here is the news thing about it.
Everybody ready? Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Bucks County District Attorney Jennifer Shorn. I'm here to report that 3 men have been arrested for inflicting child sexual abuse crimes against a 13-year-old female child from the Central Bucks area. Zachary Lee McCauley of Louisville, Kentucky, who's 29 years of age, was arrested, as was 67-year-old John Thomas Van Ingen and 42-year-old Randy Francis Quinn. As you may recall, in February of this year, we appealed to the public, using your help, the media, to get word out because we made an arrest of a child sexual predator, Mark Wills, who resided in Bucks County.
Yep.
And we needed the public's help in trying to identify some of the unidentified victims that were that evidence showed were victimized by this individual. We also appealed to the parents to get the word out to their children, to make sure they keep an open dialogue as to the dangers of online predators, as well as to check their children's devices. And one mother did just that. She had concerns for her daughter's well-being, and her concerns were confirmed when she saw suspicious activity. As a result, she reported her concerns to my office, and thanks to this amazing team of county detectives standing behind me, they opened an investigation. And they identified a perpetrator from Kentucky who was sexually exploiting this 13-year-old child. Not only was he sexually exploiting her, but he was manufacturing child sexual abuse materials, and he was trafficking her to other men. This man accessed this child through an online platform, Snapchat, and he did so portraying himself as a peer, a 17-year-old boy interested in dating this child.
I told you this is what they do. They get in these discards with these kids and they pretend that they're the same age group, and they start grooming these children. Start grooming them. I don't know if you guys remember the story of the mother and the daughter that lived next door to another family. They pretended they were some guy online. They harassed her, had her thinking that he was in love with her. Then he pulled the plug from underneath her. Everybody knew about it at school, and this young woman committed, she unalived herself because of this. It was harassment. They only got charged with harassment. That's it. They got charged with harassment.
And he used grooming tactics to lower her inhibition, and then those tactics evolved into threatening to inflict harm upon her mother if she did not comply with his demands. And as a result, this 13-year-old child's identity, her picture, was posted on an application that is a dating application, Grindr, where then she was trafficked to other men for their own deviant sexual purposes. As a result, multiple men responded to the post that this trafficker, McCauley, posted of this victim, and they pursued this child and engaged in statutory sexual intercourse with this child. One individual did so repeatedly, and he also live streamed his victimization of this child to the trafficker, Macaulay, creating child pornography. I praise the mother in this case because her instincts were correct. Although it was not related to the original case, she obviously did exactly what we asked her to do.
Hi, Muggsy.
And I praise the victim in this case. The victim is only 13 years
old, and you were being sexually assaulted, live streamed for another predator to watch. People, check on your kids, your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews. Check on these people. Check on these kids.
Age, and she is so strong, and she is not to be blamed for what occurred. But these cases cannot succeed without the amazing team of county detectives and the other detectives throughout Bucks County who make up our Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. They use the resources and their expertise to battle these crimes every single day. 40 years ago, the mantra to raise awareness for child sexual abuse was stranger danger. And we know that was not accurate. Yes, on occasion, there was a stranger perpetrating crimes upon children, but more often than not, these individuals would gain access to children by grooming them, getting close to them, and then slowly but surely victimizing those children. They were typically known offenders. But now in this digital age and with the social media platforms that are available.
That's what it seems like. And you know why they use Snapchat, right? Because everything disappears in 24 hours, I think it is. Well, that's the way it used to be. 24 hours. What? I just watched a video from Garden Flowers where a creep was grooming. Yep, I'm telling you. This is what they do.
Available for these predators. We now face such dangerous times because it's a combination of both. We have strangers accessing our children, complete and utter strangers to the parents and caregivers, and however, those children befriend these individuals and invite them into their very home and oftentimes their very own bedrooms. And then these crimes unfold. We could not succeed without the amazing people that battle these crimes day in and day out. These individuals are facing serious crimes. As it relates to Macaulay, he is currently incarcerated in the state of Kentucky and he's awaiting extradition. As it relates to Van Ingen and as it relates to Quinn, they will be prosecuted forthwith. They're presently out on bail based on what a judge determined was appropriate for bail. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
You see, this shit is crazy.
This
and Chantel, okay, there you go, in her gill. Yep, that's what I remember. They used to disappear in 24 hours. But this is how they're getting to these kids.
Case exemplifies just how long the reach is of a child sexual predator using these social media platforms. I can assure you that currently this investigation is still very much active, and if there are additional victims, we will make sure that this individual is prosecuted for those crimes.
Is the girl going to their
67 years old.
her house, as they would say?
Based on the way this victim was trafficked, arrangements were made for this child to be picked up, and if that's not a flag, I don't know what is, and to be taken to various locations in Bucks County for these other two predators to engage in sexual intercourse with this 13-year-old.
Jen, do you know if Mr. Macaulay was being paid by these individuals?
Again, the investigation is still pending as it relates to that, but we do know that, in fact, as a result of the one live stream, two different live stream videos that were captured by Macaulay, that whether he's paid in a traditional sense or he's using that as currency online with other predators, time will tell. The investigation is still pending as it relates to that. But obviously, you know,
Macaulay was
really
29-year-old.
what he was doing. And to understand that those images and those videos are out there and very, very difficult for us to ever take down from the internet.
Does he have any previous criminal history in Kentucky of this nature?
As you know, I'm not able to comment as to prior criminal history, but I do know that obviously this was not an isolated incident.
Okay,
This
so
was
that means that I need to go look and see if he has a record of he ever had a charge like that before. So I need to flag this video so I can go back and take
repeated acts of victimization of this child.
Can you talk to us about working with authorities in Kentucky, and are you also working with federal partners?
We're working with the Kentucky authorities who have been tremendously helpful, the Office of the Attorney General in the state of
I
Kentucky,
break the
and
silence.
specifically, if I just forgive me for a minute, St. Matthews Police Department in Kentucky. At this juncture, it's the team of county detectives out of my office working with Kentucky authorities. We always work well with our federal partnership, and we determine who's best suited to quite frankly, get the maximum result in this case. And right now, based on the hands-on crimes that were perpetrated upon this child, we're confident that we're the best agency to prosecute these defendants.
Can you share the other two men? Did they have any prior history, prior arrests, anything?
She just
I'm not able to
answered
speak to
that.
that, but as you know,
Okay.
we have a 67-year-old man engaging in sexual intercourse with a 13-year-old child
67,
from Bucks
John
County, and a
Van
42-year-old
Egan.
man. There was actually a third man who met with this child, and when he met her in person, it was immediately apparent that she was a child and that he did not engage in the sexual encounter that he intended to engage in. So it speaks volumes for the evidence we have in this case, and we anticipate these allegations will be substantiated when the process unfolds.
So on this app, the 13-year-old was being portrayed as an 18-year-old?
So because the application that was used to traffic this child was Grindr, and it requires an identity of an individual being 18, this trafficker, Macaulay, instructed her as to how to create a fake account, and he had access to the credentials. So naturally, he advertises her as a 13-year-old, but she is a 13-year-old child by all accounts.
So you're right, Just Beto. Snapchat and Grindr is now the new back page because he was advertising her. So Snapchat and Grindr is now the new back page.
So immediately apparent, obviously,
he was
at
a
least
pimp.
to one man.
How long was this all going on?
But in this
Several
case, she's
throughout
13.
the month of
And she
October,
can't
several
consent.
episodes throughout the month of October.
And when did
67 years old, Mr. Jimenez.
How long was that contact?
I believe, let me just confirm, it was several weeks, but I would like to just confirm that fact. September was the first contact, and for weeks was grooming, and then ultimately culminating in these sexual offenses.
Can you give us a full timeline? It started in October.
It shouldn't be out of
Started
bond.
in September was the communication, several weeks of grooming, and then went throughout the month of October.
Nope.
And those details will become more specific in time.
Jen, is there any sense of how?
How did somebody pick up your 13-year-old? Are they picking her up while you at work? Or is she supposed to be in school? How is somebody picking up your 13-year-old child and you don't know? When was this occurring? Were you at work? Was she supposed to be in school? Were you out partying with your friends? Not saying she was. I'm just asking because the mom took the time to go look through her child's phone. How was this occurring? Was this happening on the weekends when she's supposed to be hanging out at the library? Or she's supposed to be at the mall? How was this occurring? That's what I want to know.
Connected. I mean, you have somebody in Kentucky talking to a teen in Bucks County. Is there any sense? Was it through? I know Snapchat's a social media platform. Was it a chat room
phone
about a
is
specific
going
topic? Did you
off.
just randomly message multiple people? How did that?
He befriended her through Snap, portraying himself as a 17-year-old boy, Jake, who she thought was interested in her. And that's unfortunately a theme we see time and time again. And, these forums, it allows for these type of predators to really do so with anonymity, and it's quite frightening as a result.
And just for clarity, the mom reached out after this Mark Wills presser in February?
Yes, she feared, given the information, and again, I praise the media because we can't do it without you. She feared her daughter may be a victim because he was a local predator. He was a Bucks County man. And so in doing so, she contacted Detective Kelsey Pitts. And I apologize. I also failed to mention who's behind me, and I'll do that at the conclusion. She contacted Detective Kelsey Pitts from
This
my
is
office,
Kentucky.
fearing that her child may be
Bucks
a victim
County.
of this man. And due to the extraordinary work that Detective Pitts and Detective Eric Landamia, and as you know, Chief Greg Beidler from the county detectives, due to their outstanding work, they were able to quickly determine that she was in fact a victim, just not of Mark Wills.
What raised the mother's suspicions? Was it the appearance of other people picking her up and dropping her off? Why did she
No,
do that?
no. In fact, now that's what's really scary in this case. It was not that, and that's how, sophisticated these crimes can be. It's some of the things we encourage parents to be aware of. Children taking their phone into their bedrooms and communicating with people who are unknown. So that initially was the suspicious behavior that the mom noted, and then subsequently taking her daughter's cell phone and then providing.
And that's what my son did to his daughter. Took her cell phone because she started closing her door. Well, she was like 11 or 12. They were in Vegas. And he told her, bring me your phone. And she was trying to hide the phone. And he grabbed that phone and went through it. And he lost his mind. She thought it was a schoolmate who didn't want people to know that they were talking, because a couple of her friends were online playing with her from school. And he took the persona of pretending he was somebody else. He hit her up in a private chat, telling me he didn't want to make anybody else jealous. Then when he started asking her all these questions, and you can see, I still have it. She was like, what? No. And she was saying all this, but he was being persistent. She never sent any pictures or anything but he was saying some disgusting things. And my son lost his mind, went to that home because he thought it was that little boy. He went to the house. He was on fire. You have to. And then he put this device on her phone and it took a while before, and then even now when she was here with me, I would say, bring me your phone. Let me see what's going on. Grandma, nothing. I said, she would bring me the phone and I would look through it. I go look through her Discord and nothing. I said, and then I looked for any hidden things and there was nothing on her phone. But no, you got to be careful.
Providing it to law enforcement. And again, I can't praise the mother enough, and I can't praise this child victim enough. She is not to be blamed. These predators are so good at what they do, at grooming these child victims and making them think they're doing this in the name of love or
Wait a
fear
minute.
that they're loved.
You said there was a kid in your granddaughter's 5th grade class that was showing signs of being a child molester or being molested. 5th grade being a child molester? Well, okay.
Loved ones would be harmed.
Jen, can you just share with us one more time for anybody watching this time around?
Okay, so
that might feel something's off.
that's basically everything on that. But I want to do this human trafficking thing. And I think it's good for us to take a look at this. Okay. And I told you when I travel, I do pay attention. I even pay attention when I go to the mall. And I'm being honest, I do. I pay attention when I go to the mall. So, defining human trafficking. I want you guys to pay attention. Sorry, had to wish my brother happy birthday. Happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday. Here we go.
Human trafficking is a $150 billion industry affecting nearly
$150 billion industry.
25 million people around the globe. There is no reliable number for how much human trafficking happens in the United States or in individual cities or states. Human trafficking officially became a crime in the US in 2000. The law that did this was called the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. This law defines what human trafficking looks like legally, but still leaves a lot of room for question.
And I want you to pay attention to this is what they got P. Diddy on. Pay attention to the definition of what human trafficking is.
Including what is the difference between trafficking and other crimes of fraud or exploitation? And how do we know when something is trafficking? So let's break it down. First,
Hi, Gamecock.
force, fraud, and or coercion has to be present for something to be considered trafficking. Without these elements, it's exploitation.
So
not
Glenwood
trafficking.
had trafficking too, correct?
Second, there has to be money or something of value involved. When we say something of value, it could mean money saved by not having to pay someone to do work, like clean the house. It could also mean other material needs, such as clothing or shelter.
Like you have these,
Sexual abuse or
like you have illegal immigrants. You may not pay them, but you give them food and shelter. That's trafficking. If they're being forced to do something.
assault without an exchange of money or something of value is a crime, of course, but it is not trafficking. There is one major exception to the rule about force, fraud, or coercion. Anyone under the age of 18 who is having sex for money or for something of value is considered a victim of human trafficking. Period. There is no such thing as a child prostitute. The most important way to understand trafficking is to recognize that it follows a very specific pattern, be it labor or sex trafficking. Human trafficking is about power, vulnerability, and profit.
Okay, now let's go. You just heard it. Here's our test. In order for a situation to be considered trafficking, what must be present in addition to force, fraud, and coercion? It's the exchange of money or something of value. How much human trafficking happens in the United States? Does anybody remember? It said it affects 25 million globally. It's 150 billion industry. And what was the number? I don't remember. Someone say no. If a person under 18 is engaging in commercial sex without the presence of fraud, force, without force, fraud, or coercion, it is not considered sex trafficking. That's false. Sexual assault without the exchange of money or something of material value is not human trafficking. That's true. Is that true? I can't remember now. Sexual assault without the exchange of money or something of material value is not human trafficking. That's false. Okay, let's see what we did. There was a problem with my submission. Please review. Oh, I got everything right but that one. Okay, that's true. Okay, here's the second part.
Hello, I'm Callion, and I am an artist and an illustrator as well as a child sex trafficking survivor.
Thank you, Ms.
Um,
Jimenez.
I'm someone who has a big passion for illustrating dogs in particular, and I also love providing like peer support and healing spaces for people who have gone through similar traumas to me. And I'm also a passionate like transformative justice activist and someone who really gives a voice to other trans people like me in my community. My trafficking began when I was a young child, probably right around the ages of 5 or so, when my trafficker began to groom me to be sexually exploited, primarily online and with other people who would come to his house. And it really began when I became his daughter's best friend. So he gained access to me, learned about me that way. And then I would stay over at his house. He only lived a few houses down. I would stay with my best friend and he would traffic me from there. My trafficker provided me with a space to express my gender identity as a child, which was something that no one else in my life really knew about or was able to provide a space for, including just society as a whole. So my trafficker understood that I was a transgender boy and I was someone who really didn't have a space to be validated for that masculinity that I knew I held inside. And
Wait a minute. He said he was 5 years old and he had masculinity? Okay.
he recognized that. He treated me like I was his son, which was very different from the dynamics that people around me would treat me with,
So
seeing
she's a
me as a
girl
young
that
girl.
identifies as a
So,
boy.
of course, the people in my life didn't really know better. They didn't necessarily know about my identity in that way, but that was something that my trafficker realized in me. And it was a vulnerability that he exploited and used to groom me and to make me vulnerable to the abuses that I faced as a child. I think things could have been different for me if society, of course, had been more accepting and validating of young transgender children. I think that that would have been a key thing for me to have spaces where I could have been validated and noticed. And my trafficker wouldn't have been the only person who was able to validate that side of me and then to groom and exploit that side of me as
Wait
well.
a minute. He's giving his trafficker credit for realizing that he was transgender, that he was transgender. What?
So I think that would have been one of the biggest things, as well as I think that a lot of this could have been prevented if there was just more community care in general. There's a lot of isolation in our society, and there's a lot of people kind of learning to fend for themselves. And even in communities that seem tightly knit, there needs to be more care. There needs to be more collective healing and collective spaces to really work on some of the things that society could do a little bit better on, like expressing emotions and creating safe spaces, especially for vulnerable and different children. Sometimes like children show pain in ways that are overlooked because children experience a lot of fantasy. We experience a lot of, like as a child, we all experience a lot of creativity and different ways of expressing ourselves that adults may not recognize are either pain or methods of escaping a painful reality that we're in. So I would, encourage like parents and educators and people to start to understand what children who might be suffering and might be experiencing traumas would be like. So looking for child-based signs of like self-harm and things that might be exploring like sexuality or exploring things that hurt a lot more than a child should be doing at that age. More than just, normal childhood curiosity, as well as I would really encourage people to learn the signs of dissociation and detachment from trauma. So just when a child might be like zoning out or forgetting things a lot or seems disconnected from the world. So I think that that needs to be a conversation that's also happening around, anti-trafficking and just around child welfare in general, because I think a lot of what was happening to me could have been noticed a lot earlier if that had been a conversation that was happening too.
Oh my God. Did I just hear that? High crafting with Amanda. In this case, Mr. Jimenez, playing with kids of their own age, it doesn't seem to matter. Because that young man, the young man now was playing with his best friend who was a girl, and her dad had access to him because she would go over and spend the night. What the hell? I put the link down for anybody that wants to share this with your children, with your grandchildren. Do the human trafficking, take the awareness. It says human trafficking happens in the underground economy, not in legitimate businesses. That's false. Which of these situations may amount to human trafficking? A landlord threatening to evict tenants who refuse sexual advances? No. Children being put to work long hours in their family business rather than attending school? Ooh. A physical abusive husband withholds food from his spouse and bans her from leaving the home unless she cooks and cleans for him. Would we say, oh, children being put to work in long hours in their family businesses, rather, that's human trafficking. Landlords threatening to evict tenants who refuse sexual advances, that's not human trafficking. A physically abusive husband withholds food from his spouse and bans her from leaving the home unless she cooks and cleans for him. That wouldn't be human trafficking. Human trafficking always involves sex. False. No, it doesn't. If a victim agrees to engage in commercial sex, then it cannot be trafficking. True. If the victim agrees. This one has me stumped. Which of these situations may amount to human trafficking? Okay, let's see what the results are. So this one would be all of the above. See, that's the one that had me stumped. Okay, if a victim agrees, if they agree, it's not trafficking. Okay, got that one right. Shit. See what I'm saying? We all need to learn. Let's do one more.
For years, the message about human trafficking has been it can happen to anyone. And that is true. Sex and labor trafficking victims and survivors can be men and women, boys and girls, people of any ages and gender identities. They can be US citizens or foreign nationals, documented or undocumented. They may be of any race, of any nationality, of any sexual orientation or identity. But while trafficking can happen to anyone, there are some situations and conditions that make certain people far more vulnerable than others. This is important and maybe a little different than what you thought if you have seen posters or warnings that human trafficking is,
See,
quote,
but they didn't
happening
state
right
that.
there in our
They said
backyards.
consent.
It really depends on what else is in your backyard, your community. Data shows that the majority of trafficking victims identified in the United States are people of color, indigenous communities, immigrants, and people who identify as LGBTQ+.
Oh my God. People of color, indigenous, immigrants, and LGBTQI. They didn't have the A. I heard about the story of 30-something kids buried in this man's backyard. I'm gonna have to find that one. And this just happened last week. Men and boys may be victims of both sex and labor trafficking. True. Someone may be particularly vulnerable to trafficking if they have an unstable living condition, have a history, are facing poverty. Yep, that's true. Which of the following would not be make someone vulnerable to trafficking? Oh, which of the following would not make someone vulnerable to trafficking? Addiction? The clothing they wear? Racism or poverty? Which one is it? I'm going to say the clothing they wear. May not be true. Why might victims not ask for help to leave their trafficking situations? Feeling of shame, fear, debt, all of those. Let's see. Finally got one right. All of them. Jesus Christ. Okay. Jesus. Okay. So this one is going to be a personal account. Let's take a look. Clothing. Yep. Let's take a look at this one.
It was a process that didn't happen overnight. My mother started grooming me into the pedophilia culture, where random coworkers, as they were called, would come over and cross my personal boundaries, call me by a female name. And I feel just due to the mass confusion that was going on in my mind, I dove deeper into abusing methamphetamines at a very young age. Trafficker 2, his techniques didn't just start overnight either. It was a slow and enduring process of like dropping subtle hints. Why don't we get your mom out of the picture so you can always have the family you always wanted in your life? And, you know, not only that, but he was a really good reader of looking at the dynamics between me and my mother and how broken they were. Don't get me wrong, when my exploitation happened, human trafficking wasn't even on anybody's radar. Um, the sad thing, you know, I've had this reoccurring thought throughout my whole life, like what could have been different, you know, what's the woulda, shoulda, couldas.
His
For
mother?
one, I think when CPS came through, they should have recognized the red flag that my trafficker was not leaving me alone with them. So I kind of felt, even though this, I could have probably explained my side of the story, my side of the story didn't even feel like it was needed, nor needed any validation. The second thing too is when I got caught up in the jurisdictional system, instead of you know, wondering why I'm overreacting to a mail service provider, maybe having like some kind of mediator come in and asking me why am I overly reacting to a mail service provider asking me all these questions. And third and most is when I was in the foster care system. There could have been a way of me transitioning into something else. There was nothing for me to transition into. So I had to go back to ultimately what I knew was a life back with my mother. And, you know, after my trafficking situation, because there really were no proper interventions, I built a persona to where I wouldn't be messed with. And that's where I quickly got acculturated to the street culture, gangbanging culture, which is, you know, which intersects with human trafficking a lot. Because how young I was and when my trafficking happened, there really was no system in place. It was just reported as child sexual abuse, not human trafficking. When it comes to identifying human trafficking, I think Hollywood and social media doesn't really send out the true message about how trafficking has happened. The reality is that a majority of us that are groomed into human trafficking, we know are exploitators. The other misconception too is that, you know, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but like random strangers in a van picking up children, you know, I mean, I can't 100% say that that doesn't happen. And I think honestly, with the narrative that's been spent for the past 4 years from leadership, you know, there's been a really misconception with the QAnon theories of how human trafficking happens. And I think another misunderstanding too is people think that they're going to be able to see a trafficker and people that are being exploited out in public. And that's a sad reality that that's not the truth. They want to fit in as normal society as much as they can. It sounds so simple, but it's really more complex than it is. It's just to believe survivors, no matter what.
Met this as sexuals, and does Lisa have a lot of sex? Who would want to have sex with Lisa? Oh, okay. So this is how human traffickers operate. Oh God. Let's look.
First and foremost, it's important to know that in the vast majority of situations of trafficking, the victim knows and, in many cases, loves and trusts the trafficker. It is very rare that a trafficking victim is kidnapped by a total stranger. Fraud and coercion, another name for manipulation, are far more frequent ways of recruiting people into trafficking situations. Fraud and coercion can take many forms. The tactics that traffickers use usually depend on their victims' unique circumstances or vulnerabilities. What may lure one person into a trafficking situation might not work for another. The same is true for what might keep a person from breaking free of a trafficker's control. Traffickers understand this. They identify the needs of their victims and meet these needs by providing solutions. Maybe it's a job that is supposed to pay good wages, but turns out pays nothing at all. Maybe it's a place to sleep that turns out to come at a price. Maybe it's a promise of fame or fortune.
Get it? Fame or fortune. That's Diddy. That's trafficking.
Sometimes what traffickers offer is less tangible, but at least as powerful as material objects. They offer love, affection, a sense of belonging. This whole process is known as grooming. The trafficker spends time grooming the victim. That is, convincing the victim that this is what they want, that this is going to get them what they need. By the time the trafficking begins, the victim thinks the decision was actually theirs alone.
That's what
Then
we're
comes
looking
the
at right
coercion,
now.
the control.
I'm looking at Polaris Project.
Sometimes traffickers control through threats and violence. Sometimes they don't have to. By solving another
Look at this. Means of control, coercion, threats, economic abuse, using privilege, physical abuse,
person's problem,
sexual
traffickers give
abuse,
themselves
minimizing, isolation, emotional abuse, intimidation. Good morning, Golden
power over
Girls.
that person. They gave the person what they needed, and they can take it away. If that happens, their victim will find themselves back where they started, without money, without love, without the ability to support themselves or their families. That is coercion. That coercion or control is why many victims of human trafficking may not identify as victims or reach out for help.
That's what Diddy did. This is what they charged him with. Coercion, human trafficking. That's what they charged him with. And for them to charge him with that, they have it. Jesus.
For example, if a victim is a foreign national who came to the United States for work, a trafficker could threaten to get them deported. If a victim has a past history of abuse or neglect, and a trafficker promises love and stability, the victim may be too loyal to their trafficker to report them or try to leave. Maybe a victim is addicted to opioids, and the trafficker threatens to deprive them of drugs and force them to experience debilitating withdrawal symptoms.
That's what was in Glenwood's complaint. He would give them drugs.
In all of these examples, victims can feel like they are left without options. They think the consequences of leaving their traffickers are worse than staying. Here's an example of how traffickers use coercion. Lacey's parents kicked her out when she told them she was gay. She couldn't find a job, so she started selling sex in order to support herself. After a couple buyers got violent, Lacey met Jeremy, who said he could keep her safe. He invited her to live in his apartment with several other girls who were also selling sex.
Pimp.
Lacey accepted his offer of safety and stability. She quickly grew close with the other girls she lived with. In exchange for the place to stay, Jeremy made them give him part of their earnings every night.
Pimp.
If they didn't earn enough, he would lose his temper and could get violent. One night, Lacey didn't make enough. But instead of hurting her, Jeremy hurt Lacey's best friend. From then on, Lacey did whatever she had to in order to make the amount Jeremy said.
Oh my God.
She couldn't stand the thought of one of her friends being hurt because of her.
Oh my goodness. Again, I dropped the link. Arkansas dropped the link. We have so many kids that are being abused, being trafficked. And you heard what they said. Their groom is not by strangers. Not by strangers. So we have, I'm going to bring you this story as well. But I think it's good for everybody to go to those websites and take a look what's going on. Now, Carmelo Anthony's bond has been reduced. And
Live now from Fox, I'm Andrew Kraft. Let's keep it moving with these top headlines. Our next one takes us outside Dallas, Texas. And this is what we know. The 17-year-old accused of stabbing another teen at a Texas track meet. Well, he was released from jail moments ago after a judge lowered his bond. It was originally set at $1 million. Then it has dropped to $250,000. Well, our colleague, Fox News multimedia reporter Sarah Allegre was inside the courtroom as this all went down. She joins me from Frisco, Texas, outside the courtroom live. And Sarah, thanks so much for being with us.
I want to say this before we go on. If you go read the stuff on the Facebook pages and IG, they're saying that those brothers, the twins, were bullies. They're well known around the school and around that area as being bullies. Does it make it right that he lost his life? No. People are saying that, a lot of people are saying that because it was a black guy that stabbed a white guy, that that's why the black people are outraged. Let me tell you right now, if it was a white guy that stabbed a black guy, I would still be outraged. It doesn't matter. A 17-year-old lost his life. Another 17-year-old or 16-year-old will probably go to jail for this unless they can prove self-defense. Either way, both of these young people's lives are ruined. One is deceased, one is getting ready to go to trial. Two families are caught up in this act of violence. Now, somebody said, and he was a family friend to one of the, I don't know if he was a friend to the young man that was Cade or not, but he said, Austin, and I can't think of the brother's name, were always bullying because of their size. He said he told them a couple of years back that if they keep doing what they're doing, they're going to run up on the wrong one. This is a friend of theirs. I don't know if it was Austin's friend or the other brother's friend. But he told them he was going to run up on the wrong one.
Here, this story has garnered a lot of national attention. What more do we need to know?
Absolutely. And it's that national attention. It's played a big role when we're talking about the security and the safety of all parties, really, in this case. And that was something mentioned today. And you could see it, too, here just outside the Collin County Courthouse, inside the courtroom as well. There was a heightened security presence, additional law enforcement, at least more than usual. The judge even made it known that she had received several threatening phone calls ahead of the hearing and hasn't been under this kind of pressure, really, or seen a case reach this public scale in her 13 years of being on the bench. Another key thing that stood out a little bit earlier today was who took the witness stand. We did hear from Carmelo Anthony's father, the suspect in this case, and we got more of an idea of his son's character. He talked about Carmelo Anthony being a straight-A student, the captain of the football and track teams, and a church regular. Now, the defense says all that matters when it comes to bond. Also, that Anthony's not a flight risk and has strong community ties.
Bond, as the judge said, is not supposed to be an instrument of oppression. It's not supposed to keep people in jail. It's not supposed to punish. It's supposed to ensure that a person shows up to court, complies with all conditions, and it's supposed to keep the community safe. So this is a large and substantial bond, and the judge has, I think, rightly imposed reasonable conditions that will ensure both Carmelo and the Anthony family's safety, but also the safety of the community.
Prosecutors argue the bond should stay at $1 million for a number of reasons. They first pointed out the severity of this case, but also pointed to that fundraiser that raised over $400,000 in legal costs for Anthony's family. But the judge disagreed here. She settled on house arrest with an ankle monitor, again that reduced bond, and a weekly phone check-in with a bailiff.
Made the call, and so what's important is what's next. Frisco PD will be finishing up their investigation. They will submit the case to my office.
Okay, flight risk. Okay, let me get this. They're saying because the family raised $400,000, he's a flight risk. They're saying what? They're going to take that money and abscond. Where in the fuck are you going to live off of 400,000? 250,000 was just put up for that bail. Then you have attorney fees. Just like the other father was saying, his son was a leader. He was kind, and he was saying all of this stuff. That family was speaking. Haven't heard from Carmelo's family yet. Except for he's a 4.0, where he's the leader of the track team. He's a football captain. So now this young man's life is basically ruined. All for what? Really? I need to go find that. So let's finish listening.
We will review it and ultimately present it to a grand jury. And so that's what's next.
Anthony's accused of stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a track meet between their schools. Witnesses say the two got into a fight over seating, that Metcalf pushed Anthony, and that's when Anthony pulled a knife from his bag and stabbed him in the heart.
Metcalf still can't get over the fact he had the knife, but then it makes sense when we read about they attended a party like the week before, and Austin was talking crap to his girlfriend. So they did. And I said they had to have a run-in before. That still no fucking excuse. None. But don't tell me that young man wasn't a bully when people are saying he and his twin brother were known bullies.
Died in his twin brother's arms. And court records say Anthony admitted to the stabbing and asked officers if this could count as self-defense. And both Carmelo Anthony's parents, along with Austin...
he also asked if he was going to be okay. Don't forget about that part. It's in the officer's report. He asks if he will be okay. You forgot that. And then he said it was self-defense. Don't brush over that.
Metcalf's parents were both inside the courtroom earlier this morning. As you can imagine, both parties, both quiet and somber. Andrew?
Sarah, just a couple of questions. When is the next court hearing? I mean, how long is Anthony going to be in this kind of home detention here?
Until his court.
That's to be determined at this point. Right now, Frisco PD just working on collecting evidence and giving that to the district attorney's office. They will then review it and then present that before a grand jury. So really on the DA's timeline, along with Frisco PD. As for Carmelo Anthony, yes, he'll be on house arrest. He cannot leave his home without the judge knowing. Of course, he will have a leg monitor as well and will be under tight watch of his family, his friends at that home, and just learned a little bit more about his background and then what that home life will look like moving forward as he fights those charges from home now.
All right, Sarah Allegre there live for us in Frisco, Texas. Sarah, thanks for bringing us the details on this story. We'll talk soon.
So he's out of jail. I don't think he's a threat to the community. Not at all. Not at all. So
tonight at 6 with a one-on-one interview with a boy who says he was sexually assaulted by a local youth soccer coach. Good evening once again, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams.
And I'm Michael Bradley. That coach was arrested for the murder of a 13-year-old boy last week. Mario Garcia Aquino was also charged with sexually assaulting at least 2 teenagers in 2022 and 2024. And police say there may be more victims. NBC4's Karma Dickinson live with an exclusive interview with that boy who says he was one of them. Karma?
Well, yes, more than a year before youth soccer coach Mario Aquino Garcia was arrested for the murder and sexual abuse of a North Hollywood child, another teenager had sounded the alarm about the same coach. That teen shared a story with us, but we do want to warn you, this report contains some graphic and disturbing details.
Okay, hold on. This will be trigger warning. Hold on. Trigger warning. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning.
When Oscar Omar Hernandez was found murdered in Oxnard April 2nd, allegedly at the hands of his soccer coach, many were left asking how this was allowed to happen. No one more so than this young man.
I thought it could have been me. I thought, why couldn't the police do anything about my case? And they just left it open. And then it had to get to a teenage boy getting killed. It had to get to that point.
Speaking with the permission of his mother, the San Fernando Valley teen who's asking us to call him John also wanted us to alter his voice and not show his face to protect his privacy because of what he's about to share. He's 17 now, but he was 15 when he says he met Mario Garcia Aquino.
Like he would buy us food, drinks.
John says Garcia Aquino was also his soccer coach. He says the man befriended kids on the team and he became close with them. That's when John was having hard times with his family, and he says Garcia Aquino offered him work. And at age 16, he went to live with Garcia Aquino and his son, first in Sylmar, then in Palmdale. He says the coach offered him drinks, but he never thought much of it.
It was an orange juice, and it made me feel tired after a while.
Oh, he pulled the ditty.
Sleepy tired.
NBC has not verified what, if anything, was in those drinks. But in February of 2024, about a year and a half after moving in with Garcia Aquino, John says he woke up to find the coach
pulling down my shorts, and I woke up, I punched him, and then he told me it was all a joke.
He was 16 at the time, and he says it happened again.
I go to sleep. I see him like trying to pull down my shorts again, and it was like 1 a.m, so I was freaking out. I didn't know what to do. I saw my shorts backwards. I'm freaked out right now. How do you expect me to act?
John called 911 and his mother. This is video of that day, February 24th, 2024, when LA County Sheriff's deputies came to the home. John says Garcia Aquino had run away. The sheriff's deputy sent John to the hospital. He showed us the discharge paperwork showing the emergency room doctor diagnosis of sexual assault of an adolescent, positive urine screen for an unspecified drug, and toxic encephalopathy, meaning an impaired brain function. But John says he's unaware of the law enforcement investigation going any further than that.
Oh my God.
They called me speaking about it, but they just said that it was most likely going to be an open case.
Authorities eventually arrested Garcia Aquino for this crime, but they did so just last week, more than 1 year after John reported the assault. A year in which the 43-year-old Garcia Aquino continued to coach boys soccer. The assault arrest also came after Aquino was already questioned in Oscar Omar Hernandez's disappearance. The 13-year-old had gone to visit Garcia Aquino at his home and was found dead 5 days later.
Oh my God.
It feels like
this man could have been stopped. Right here. Right here. He could have been stopped. Instead, a 13-year-old child is now deceased because, again, the cops didn't do their job. They didn't do their job. And yes, Beetle, you are correct.
I got ignored. Like if I wasn't a human being, that doesn't sit right with me. What if I'm not here right now? I could have been that 13-year-old boy.
And NBC4 continues to push for answers from the LA County Sheriff's Department about those cases. Today, they declined to comment on any of the aspects of the timeline of this investigation, saying it has been forwarded to the district attorney's office. Tuesday, though, the DA's office told NBC4 that the 2024 assault case was under investigation until March 25th of this year. That's about a week before Oscar Omar Hernandez was found dead. Garcia Aquino is now charged with the death of Hernandez, the assault of John in 2024, and with another sexual assault of a minor in 2022. That charged just last week.
Okay. Anyway, that's it. Yep. That's it. This is crazy. This child lost his life because the cops, again, that man should have been arrested. Arrested. And now a 13-year-old boy is now deceased. Anyway, so we have one more and then I'm going to go. This was sent to me. And this is what, hi, Cindy. Girl, I have to do laundry and shit today. But I told you the story of the young man in Wisconsin, I think. Yeah, we looked at it. Here's an update on his story. And it looks funny because the way it was sent to me.
New developments to share with you in the case of a Wisconsin teenager accused of murdering his parents. He allegedly killed them to, quote, obtain the financial means to assassinate President Donald Trump. This This is according to a recently unsealed federal warrant.
I don't like
17-year-old
with other people. I know it's
Nikita Kasep allegedly shot
I
and
know it's a cartoon caricature. I understand that, but it's Bambi's face, and I didn't notice it until yesterday. And I know you and Bambi are going through things, and I really just don't want to be in the middle.
killed his mother and stepfather back in February, then lived with their decomposing bodies as he devised an escape plan. You may remember we covered his first court appearance.
The defendant continued to live in that residence with the two bodies in the house.
Come on. He lived with the bodies in the house. He was doing videos.
He then fled with the $14,000 in cash. We know that he was communicating with someone indicating that he had the name of a person to get fake plates from to put on the car in order to obviously hide the fact that the car was stolen.
Court documents say Kasep kept his parents' bodies in a room and covered them in blankets. He was recorded on home surveillance footage showing off his stepfather's body. Kasep is currently in custody in the Waukesha County Jail on $1 million bond. He's due back in court next month to enter a plea. Requests for comment from his team so far have not been returned.
So he kept his parents' bodies in the home. Pam, let me drop the link for you real quick. Hold on. Let me just drop the link. Oh shit, that's not what I want to do. Hold on. I have to drop the link for you because I don't want to keep talking in the chat. So I'm just going to drop the link for you and just come on up. He kept his parents' bodies and was showing them off. He was caught on home surveillance video doing that. That is crazy. And all because Selfie, he had a plan that he wanted to go and K Donald Trump. So he killed his parents to get access to the money. And he was going to go kill Donald Trump. What the hell is going on here? What the hell is going on? We've got parents grooming their own kids. We have U.S. representatives. We have ex-New York State councilmen that are going to Prague and having sex with young men. What the hell? What the hell? But I wanted to show you guys something too. I want to show you something funny. Oh, I'm sorry. There's Pam. Okay, there's Pam. Hold on. Let me get Pam. Good morning. Oh, she dropped. Hold on. Good morning. Pam. Good morning. She dropped again. Pam. Pam. Okay, she keeps dropping. Okay. Let me see. Can I get Pam? Pam. Okay. Pam keeps dropping. Hold on. Pam? Pam. Okay, Pam, sweetie, I know you're trying to come up, but you have no sound. Look, let me just say this. I know that you and Bambi are going through stuff, and I know that you guys are going through stuff. I know this. I don't know when you got that caricature. I don't remember seeing it on her panel. Hello, Pam? She keeps dropping. Pam, I hear you. Pam? 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 Okay, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. Pam? Okay, Pam, I'll talk to you in IG because it's not working. I'll just talk to you in IG because it's not working. Good morning. Can you hear me? Yeah, something's wrong. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, here's what I want to say. Okay. I understand that you and Bambi are going back and forth. Trust and believe me, I know this. I understand this. But I don't allow, and you know this as well, I don't want other people in my chat with someone else's face. And up until it was brought to my attention, I didn't realize that it was Bambi until Just Beetle said something about it yesterday. If you can just come in here with your P, or when you come in my chat, if you can just change your avatar, I really will appreciate it. I really, really do. I just don't want, because if I don't allow someone else to do it, I can't allow that from you as well. Okay. That's all I'm trying to say. Now, I want to show you guys something that's funny. Okay. I want to show you guys something. Pam, you keep coming, but you keep dropping. I actually want to show you guys there's something funny. And I just can't do that. All right.
Update on the haunted house video. A lot of you guys thought my wife was actually being possessed, and then y'all ridiculed me and called me a bad husband because I left her alone in the haunted house. And what y'all fail to understand is I'm not Caucasian like y'all. I'm mixed. I'm black from the waist up and from the kneecaps down.
Okay,
and
wait
we
a minute.
don't do
Hold on. I want to show this one first. I want to show.
I'm making this video as evidence for the police while the story's fresh on my mind. Something happened to my wife, and I know she's hurt. I heard her scream, but I was too scared to turn around. We were out on her daddy's property about 3 acres deep hunting, and we were about to turn around and on our way back, and all of a sudden we heard this, and man, it like sent shivers down my spine. And all of a sudden we heard like branches cracking, and I ain't talking about like branches on the ground. It sounded like lightning. These were thick. Crack! And then my wife, she's white, so she was started walking towards it. She was like, what is that? So then whatever this thing is, it starts throwing these huge rocks, and then my wife's like dodging them. She's like, this is private property. And I'm like, girl, it is made in public property. We need to run. And I ran, all right? I don't care. Let me explain. I have so many different ethnicity backgrounds. I could get a piece of land in Arizona on a reservation, or I could get deported. I don't know what it is with you white folk. You see imminent danger, and your first thought is, I've got to investigate this. So I started running, and then the protector in me kicked in. And once I got about 200 yards out, I looked back and I couldn't see her because it was kind of dark, but I heard her scream. And this is my thought process, Mr. Detective. If she's screaming, this like snapping branches, man, I don't even work out, bro. Like, I don't even have health insurance. She's a little frail girl. She's screaming, it's got her. I go back. Then who's going to tell the story? We just gonna be two bones in a cave, Mr. Detective. That's why I'm making this video. I love my wife. I mean, I'll be honest, you know, if you find her like all torn up out there, you know it ain't me. Look, I'm clean. You know what I'm saying? I had a pee-pee, so I would have, you know what I'm saying? So it was an accident, but I did. This is, you'll find her. She's probably all over the place right now. And I do have motives. You will find a conversation where I got angry about her liking all these. I'm making this video as evidence for the police.
I like this one. He's funny as shit. And then there's this one. Hold on, let me bring this one.
Update on the haunted house video. A lot of you guys thought my wife was actually being possessed, and then y'all ridiculed me and called me a bad husband because I left her alone in the haunted house. And what y'all fail to understand is I'm not Caucasian like y'all. I'm mixed. I'm black from the waist up and from the kneecaps down, and we don't do paranormal. That's more y'all's thing.
So he's black from the waist. He's black from the waist up and from the kneecaps down, meaning his middle part is white. I was cracking up at this man. He's funny.
Y'all did make me feel bad, and I do need to go up and check on her. So before I did, I went and picked up my best friend since childhood, Nathan, and he's black as well, so I couldn't tell him it had anything to do with paranormal, so I just told him that we were going to be moving some shit. He just don't know it's going to be my wife. So we drove all the way up to Adams, Tennessee to this farmhouse. I knocked on the door. She opens the door, and she's got this happiness and this glow and this smile that I ain't seen since before she got with me. Me and my buddy walk in the house, and we're standing there for a few seconds, and then he grabs me up by my arm and gives me this funny look because my wife has this spirit box sitting there on the kitchen table, and it's on. It's like, shh, and she's got her hair up in like some weird ball ponytail that I ain't never seen her do it like that before. And she was wearing like some kind of old colonial style sundress. Like I've never seen anything like it. And we knew something was up. She was like, "Do y'all want some sweet tea?" And then all of a sudden this voice came out of the spirit box and it said, "Field slaves out of house." And boy, Nathan, he got offended. He's like, "Hey, my mama's white. I ain't no damn field slave." And I was like, "Yeah, you wrong on this one, Mr. Demon. We wouldn't have been in the field. We would have been in the house."
See, that's what I said. Okay. You're light skinned. You in the house. Remember, he's black from the waist up and from the kneecaps down. This man is crazy.
I'm completely creeped out at this point because she looks at us and with this blank stare and this smile says, "Yes, y'all both need to go outside." I froze. Nathan reacted. He took the top off his water bottle and he started slinging water at her face. And I was like, "Bro, I think that's got to be blessed first for it to work." And then instead of throwing it at her face, because she had on this white sundress, so the water was going down and it was showing her private areas. And I was feeling uncomfortable because he wasn't even throwing it at her face anymore. He was just throwing it all at her chest. And I was like, "What?" Update on the haunted house video.
He makes some really good videos. He's really funny. And I just was cracking up laughing. So this guy right here as well. This is about Coleman.
Y'all, I will get back to my 25-day boot bashing bonanza here in just a little bit, but very quickly, there is a piece of content floating around the Clock app that I have absolutely got to call out. For some reason, I keep seeing Coleman, Alabama in this presentation as a picture-perfect Christmas destination. And I just want to remind y'all that that shithole is a sundown town. They just don't have the damn sign anymore. For fuck's sake, friends, I was raised by my great-grandmother, and when I turned 16 and got a car, Coleman was on the list of places I could not go. Let me run that back for you. My great-grandmother told me I could not go to Coleman, Alabama. Every year when all the Alabama high schools send their students to Wallace State for the basketball championship, the buses will not stop in Coleman. Shit, fuck, fire. I think I might have to do another series about all the fucked up places in this state. Y'all ever heard of Operation Paperclip? Anyways, y'all have you a wonderful day. I'm about to go film my 25 days of boot bashing bonanza. I will see y'all on the other side. Keep them motherfucking boots out of your motherfucking mouth. And remember that the golden rule will always ride. Yeehaw, fuck the law, and I will see y'all down the line.
He's funny. And this one right here.
If you call yourself a patriot, you need to listen to me. If you call yourself a proud American, you need to listen to me. If you have ever flown the Gadsden flag, or in all honesty, the Confederate flag, you need to listen to me. You do not get to call yourself either of those things. You do not get to say "don't tread on me," and you damn sure don't get to call yourself a rebel when you vote for the motherfucker who just told you, "You vote for me this time, you won't ever have to vote again." Sorry, not sorry, I don't make the rules, but you don't get to be or do any of those things and vote for the Cheeto-flavored motherfucking penis potato. It just doesn't happen. You cannot do it. It's fake. There's no playing devil's advocate with this. There's no potential bright side. One of two things happen. Either they fuck things up so bad that we cannot fix it, or they intend on making it where it's not that you're not gonna have to vote ever again, it's that you won't get to vote ever again. Get your motherfucking head out your motherfucking ass, unfuck yourself, and help us fix this goddamn mess that a lot of y'all helped us fucking make. Keep the boots out your mouth. Yeehaw, fuck the law.
I like him. He's funny. He's funny. I like him. I like him. I like him. I like him. That beard is everything. So I just wanted to show you guys, but make sure you go and check out that Polaris app on human trafficking. Listen to the stories, take the quiz behind it. And shit, it had me thinking for a while. Wait a minute. What is human trafficking again? What is consistent? What is it? So we're going to do that. But thank you guys. I really appreciate you coming. And it's Tuesday today. Selfie Queen Cindy, are you doing I haven't seen any lives for you at all. At all. I know what's her name? Lori is now on the favorited app. I know she's there. His beard is something else. So in other words, when you see someone that looks like that, people always judge people. You can't judge a book by their cover. To me, he looked like a damn redneck. And then I started paying attention. I was like, this man is freaking crazy. He has lost his mind. But there's another one on TikTok. He's a cop. And he goes, if you call me, wee woo, I'm on my way. So I really do like him, but you can't just judge a book by its cover. And Pam, again, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be mean. But when you come in my chat, if you can just change that avatar, please. Pretty, please. I don't care what y'all do on your channel. I don't care what's going on here, but when you come in my chat, I'm just asking to change that avatar. That's all. But you guys have a great day. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Arkansas, are you going to go live today, tomorrow, Friday? I noticed you normally go live on Fridays. And I just saw Charlie is live, so I'm going to head over to Charlie, sending love, and go say good morning to her. And thank you for joining me. And I will see you tomorrow with Debbie. The reason Debbie and I and Lexi didn't go live last night, because my dumb ass forgot Debbie was traveling. And we won't go live until Wednesday, but she flew out yesterday afternoon. And I completely forgot that she was going to be traveling. So we will see you guys tomorrow night. And if Savage isn't doing a lot, oh, you're going to the doctors. Oh my God. I hope everything's okay. I will do a members only this week, though. I will do a members only this week. So definitely, Jules, get ready. I'm going to do a members only so you can stream it. I'm going to have a picture of you behind me. So I'm going to do a members only. So get ready to start striking. Nah, I won't put a picture of her up behind me. That was a joke. But I am doing a members only this week. So I would definitely see you guys later. Oh, and by the way, if you guys are not watching The Ultimatum, it's better than Married at First Sight. Way better than Married at First Sight. So it's on Netflix. It's called The Ultimatum. Nick Lachey and his wife are the hosts of the show. And it is, and I'm serious, it's really good. I binged season 1, fell asleep on season 2. So I have to go back and watch season 2 and see. It is a really, really good show. And when I tell you it's better than Married at First Sight, I am not joking. It is really, really good. Oh, the funeral home has been shut down in Harris County in Houston, the one we talked about yesterday. So you guys have a great day, and I'll definitely see you later. Bye, guys. Let's get out of here. Bye.
No, I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you are behind the